Hey, thank you all for joining today. My name is Martin Weil. I'm the product manager at Athene here for marketing, and I'm in charge of the Ascent product line. So today we're going to cover the Athene Ascent 10 Bonus 2.0 with Ascent Income Rider. Today we're going to cover three main topics: income for every client, the different choices of income payouts, and enhanced features. And kind of before we get started today, if you do have questions, please type them out. We've got kind of a long agenda here, so if we don't get to your questions, we will send the recording out with the slides, as well as we'll follow up with any questions that you may have. So the Ascent Income Rider offers both a guaranteed and stacked income option, giving your clients a winning scenario regardless of deferral years. Option 1 is the guaranteed income option. It will provide a 10% bonus to the income base, as well as a 10% simple interest roll-up rate for the first 10 years and a 5% interest roll-up rate for the next 10 years. Option 2 is going to offer a guaranteed plus a stacked roll-up option. This will provide a 5% bonus to the income base, as well as an 8% simple interest roll-up in the first 10 years, and a 4% simple interest roll-up rate for the next 10 years. In addition, Option 2 will provide a 200% stacking percentage on top of the guaranteed roll-up, and we'll get into that shortly. This example shows a 60-year-old purchasing Option 1 with an initial premium of $100,000. As you can see on the chart, after a 10-year deferral, the income base has grown to $210,000, which would translate to a $10,710 a year income, which is guaranteed for life. The next chart shows different attain ages and deferral years for Option 1 using $100,000. So it shows issue ages ranging from 50 years old all the way up to 70, and 5 and 10 year deferrals just showing the different amounts of income that you would receive guaranteed. Getting into Option 2, so this example will show the same 60-year-old purchasing Option 2 with an initial premium of $100,000. You'll see that after 10 years, if the client earned 0 interest credits, their income would be $10,209 a year, which is guaranteed for life. With a stacked option, your client would earn the guaranteed amount plus 200% stacking participation. The way that works is that any interest credit amount to the accumulated value would be doubled and added to the income base on top of the guaranteed roll-up. For example, if you earned $5,000 in interest credits, we would put $10,000 in the income base, so it would double that amount. So this example uses our BNP MAD 5 index. We've calculated the best, average, and worst it has performed and come up with different non-guaranteed income amounts, which you'll see are significantly higher than the guaranteed income option. The next chart shows different attain ages and deferral years for Option 2 using a $100,000 initial premium and allocating to our BNP MAD 5 index. As you can see, there are strong guarantees plus potential for higher income based on returns. And we've kind of done the same thing that we did with Option 1. We've showed some different age ranges, ages 50 all the way up to 65, and deferral years of 10 years with the stacked option. So the Ascent Income Rider offers 3 different payout options. So we just talked about how you're going to accumulate the amount of income that you take. Now when you trigger the income, we're going to talk about how you can take that income. The first option is going to be a level payout option, which will just pay you the same amount per year for the rest of your life. The second option is an inflation-adjusted income. Now what this does is it'll give you a lower income to start, and then the income increases each year based on changes in the consumer pricing index. So if the consumer pricing index goes up 3% in a given year, then your income the following year would be 3% higher than the prior year, and that locks in every year. The last option is the earnings indexed income option. This also starts with a lower income amount and is increased based on interest credited to the accumulated value. The earnings indexed option has become very popular with a lot of agents. As the annuity increases based on interest credits, so does your client's income. So once the accumulated value reaches 0, we will automatically increase the income by 1% each year, since you won't be earning interest credits when the accumulated value is at 0. So that's an added feature that we put in, just a 1% guarantee each year. This next example assumes a $100,000 initial premium with an issue age of 55, deferring 10 years, and a $100,000 premium. We're showing option 1 guaranteed income and various deferral years. As you notice, the income is lower to start, but in the long run, the income surpasses what you would receive in the future than if you would have chosen the level payout option. So a little bit lower payment to start off, and as your interest credits are kicking in, so is your income. It's growing over time. So very powerful if you're taking income in the early years and you anticipate taking income for a long period of time. This works great for that. So we talked about the income portion. Let's touch on some of the additional contract features. The first feature is the minimum interest credit. If at the end of your withdrawal charge period, the total interest credited to the accumulated value is less than a minimum interest credit, your client will automatically receive a one-time interest credit equal to the difference. The minimum interest credit is based upon a percentage of the premium less withdrawals and charges. The percentage is guaranteed in the contract. The next feature is the bailout feature. If the declared cap rate ever falls below the bailout cap, your client has up to 30 days after the contract anniversary to withdraw any amount up to the accumulated value regardless of the strategy chosen. So if they're in the fixed strategy and the 1-year bailout goes into play, they don't have to be allocated into that strategy. They can be 100% in another strategy. They can still exercise this option. This product also offers 10% free withdrawals, and those begin in the first year. The Ascent Income Rider has an enhanced income benefit that will double the lifetime income withdrawal for a maximum of 5 years if the following criteria is met. The contract must be enforced at least 1 year. The annuitant must not have been confined at issue. The rider must be in the income phase. The annuitant must be confined to a qualified care facility for at least 80 out of the last 250 days, 180, I'm sorry. Enhanced income will pay for a max of 5 years as long as the annuitant continues to meet the eligibility requirements and the accumulated value is greater than 0. If the accumulated value hits 0 before the end of that 5 years, it will revert back to regular lifetime income. And this is not considered long-term care insurance. A lot of agents use this as an alternative. As you can see on the chart here, very colorful chart, there are different versions of this product by state with different issue ages. But the product availability is in every state minus New York. So getting into the availability, here's a look at the different versions of the product. As you can see, the basic income rider features are the same. The rider charge, the roll-up rate for option 1, option 2, those are all the same depending on, regardless of the version of the product that you're selling. And this slide here shows some of the differences among the variations of the products. As you can see, there's different issue ages based on the product availability, minimum premium $5,000 up to $1 million, and withdrawal charge schedules and premium bonus vesting adjustments are really going to be the main things that vary based on the product availability in your state. So you want to make sure that you take a look at the rate sheet and state approval chart to make sure that you're selling the right product, and take a look at the features of that specific product. The Ascent 10 Bonus 2.0 offers multiple index options for your client to choose from. It's important to distinguish that the index strategy is linked to the movement of the index, and that the client is not purchasing individual shares or stocks of companies that compromise the index. When an Athene index annuity is purchased, the owner may allocate a portion or all of the premium among the available interest crediting strategies. Reallocation of strategy values may occur at subsequent contract anniversary dates, depending on the length of the crediting strategy term. So check out our current rates. You'll see this product offers competitive accumulation potential with the addition of a few unique indexes. We'll kind of get into some of those indexes right now. We've got our 1 and 2 year Janus SG Market Consensus Index, which was just launched. We'll get into that. 1 and 2 year options on our BNP Paribas Multi-Asset Diversified 5 Index, and 1 and 2 year Morningstar Dividend Yield Target Volatility 5 Index. So getting into the Janus SG Market Consensus Index, like I said, this is a new index. This was just launched on August 14th of this year, just a couple weeks ago. So we're very excited about this index, and it's still very new. So I'm sure that we'll have a lot of questions on that. So with this index, our partners Societe Generale and Janus Henderson Investors, they've come together to develop the Janus SG Market Consensus Index. As you can see, each partner brings great things to the table and has a presence worldwide. You may hear us refer to this index as SocGen. That's kind of been a name that we've been using. Not everyone can pronounce the Societe Generale. I don't know if I even pronounced it right myself. So we just call them SocGen. They're the main driver of the index. So we'll kind of get into a couple steps here on how this index works, and just really break it down for you guys, because it is something new. It's something that's great that a lot of agents have kind of taken to lately. So the Janus SG Market Consensus Index uses a system of 3 rules-based or expert strategies to determine the composition of the index and pursue performance objectives. A rules-based approach is data-driven and does not rely on emotion or hunches. The market consensus strategy is the first step, and that actually has a 3-step process. So this is kind of the main component. How do we choose the stocks? So step 1, they select 250 large cap U.S. companies out of the 500. Every quarter, the market consensus strategy identifies the 500 largest market capitalizations in the U.S. From these, it selects the 250 stocks with the lowest 3-month volatility. Step 2, determine the market consensus score for each stock. Every month, the strategy calculates the potential return of each of the 250 selected stocks based on the average of the 12-month price targets of a panel of analysts, the dividends paid over the previous 12 months, the market price of the stock. The strategy then divides the potential return of each stock by its historical 3-month volatility to determine its market consensus score. Negative scores are sent to 0. Step 3, allocate each stock to the index by weight. The strategy computes the weight of each stock by dividing its market consensus score by the sum of all scores of the 250 stocks. Generally, the stocks with the highest potential return and the lowest historical volatility would receive the highest weight. The next step is the volatility control mechanism. Generally speaking, the greater a stock's volatility, the more risk it presents. The volatility control strategy aims to stabilize returns to better manage risk. On a daily basis, it responds to short-term volatility by adjusting exposure to the core strategy. The index seeks to maintain a 20% daily volatility target. When volatility falls below the target, exposure to the core strategy increases. When volatility rises above the target, the exposure decreases. The last step is the performance control mechanism. Returns are important, an important measure of the index performance. But when you're considering interest crediting strategies in a fixed index annuity, the rate of participation in any positive return is also critical. The Janus SG Market Consensus Index uses a performance control strategy to balance these two imperatives. The strategy limits the potential positive performance of the volatility controlled strategy to 4% per month, with no limit to the downside returns. This allows for a higher participation rate than might otherwise be possible. A higher rate increases the amount of any interest credited to your Athene annuity. Get a lot of questions on this portion here. Why do we have a 4% cap embedded within the index? And just kind of like I alluded to there, with the 4% cap within the index, that does allow us to price higher participation rates, which in return go to your client in the end. So here's a chart with a hypothetical backcast of this index compared to the S&P. As you'll see, the black line has a little bit of red right at the end there. So the red is actually live data from when the index went live in May. And the black line represents the same formula and rules applied to past performance and how this index would have performed. So that was the Janus SG Market Consensus Index. We'll talk about some of our other index partners that are available on this product. We've got the BNP Paribas, which has a presence in 75 countries, including all the main international financial markets. BNP Paribas can boast one of the most exponential banking networks. The Bank for a Changing World places innovation at the heart of its strategy, its culture, and its businesses. The BNP Paribas ranked world's 11th most valuable banking brand. We're also going to touch on Morningstar a little bit. They're a leading provider of independent investment research in North America, Europe, Australia, and Asia. Provide data on more than 500,000 investment offerings. And Investment Week recognized Morningstar's thought leadership work at its 2015 Investment Marketing and Innovation Awards. So getting into the BNP Paribas Multi-Asset Diversified 5 Index. Index is completely rules-based and consists of 3 steps. We've got the diverse components, dynamic allocation, daily volatility control. The BNP index is comprised of 8 underlying components, 3 equity future indices, 3 bond future indices, and 2 commodity indices. These components were selected based on the following principles: diversity and geographic zones covered, use of market benchmarks, components representing multiple asset classes. On a daily basis, the index will automatically rebalance the weightings of these components to create a portfolio with the highest past returns. So let's take a look at how this works. Step 1. The BNP index begins by creating a universe of potential hypothetical portfolios where the underlying components are differently weighted across the board. Step 2, the BNP index then tests the different portfolio combinations in the universe, considering only those that have demonstrated long-term realized volatility below a certain level of volatility. And step 3, out of the remaining portfolios after step 2, the final hypothetical portfolio is chosen based on the BNP index rules and methodology, which allocates more to recent outperformers and less to recent underperformers. This process happens on a daily basis. If the realized volatility exceeds the 5% target volatility rate on any day, the BNP MAD 5 index will reduce the weight of the hypothetical selected portfolio and rebalance it with a non-numerical cash component. On a daily basis, the hypothetical portfolio of the BNP MAD 5 index targets an annualized realized volatility of 5%. If the realized volatility of the selected hypothetical portfolio exceeds 5%, the BNP MAD 5 will reduce the weight of the portfolio and rebalance it with a cash component. So there's kind of a visual on how that portion of it works. So this chart here will represent a hypothetical backcast of the BNP compared to the S&P. The BNP index went live last year. So again, you'll see some different values there based compared to the S&P, as well as the ticker symbol and the website available for BNP. Our final index partner is the Morningstar Dividend Yield Focused Target Volatility 5 Index. The focus is on dividends and only tracking well-established and financially healthy companies who are willing and able to return cash to shareholders. So this is completely U.S.-based, and just kind of showing some of the hypotheticals there. As you'll see, it doesn't have the ups and downs of the S&P. It's very consistent. It's a slow, steady growth over time. So like I said, you're not going to see it skyrocket in value. You're not going to see it drop far in value. You'll just see a steady, consistent growth over time. So we've touched on the index, how the indexes work. We've touched on the product, the income rider, the enhanced features. So as you can see, the Athene Ascent 10 Bonus 2.0 will offer your clients with industry-leading income options, as well as some great indexes to allocate to. Give our sales desk a call today. Let them run some illustrations for you or answer any additional questions you may have. Again, any questions that you guys do have, please type out. We're kind of running closer to the end of the time here. We will send out a recording. We will also send out the slides, and any questions that you have, we will reach out to you and make sure that we get you guys an answer as soon as possible in the next day or so. So I want to thank all of you for taking the time out of your day, learning about this great product. Give us a call, try us out, and hopefully you won't be disappointed. So thank you for your time.